Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Elial in this incarnation. Well, I am here today to talk about the energies of this next week from today, July 21st to July 27th. I will repeat that today we had the full moon in Capricorn, so this energy will continue to manifest. This is not something that has already passed. It will participate from the next days. It is important to take that in account. On the other hand, I wanted to talk about Mercury. And this is part of the configuration of the full moon. Mercury is in Leo right now, and today perfected the first of three squares that it is going to create with Uranus in Taurus. And the fact that it is making three squares, three tensions with Uranus, it is telling us a story that will develop in these contacts. So remember that Mercury, it is the planet associated to the exchange of information, conversations, mental processes. It is about communication. And these squares with Uranus is the planet of disruptive change. In Taurus, let's remember that Taurus is this energy linked with things that brought us stability or that gave us stability. Things that related with resources and the way we are valuing ourselves. So these squares could bring decisions that we didn't plan before, conversations that are disruptive, suppressive news. Also, maybe we are going to feel like forced to assume a new direction or to change our mind about something. And this could bring certain resistances because we are talking about tensions. And when we talk about tensions of the fixed signs, many times this brings this this resistance to change. I'm going to tell you the dates because the second square, I'm going to repeat this, of course, later, but the second square is going to be given on August 17th, and Mercury right there, it is going to be retrograde, and we are going to experiment also by that moment with in a very strong way, because this is already gestated, the square between Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini. And this Jupiter in Gemini responds to Mercury. That's why I am mentioning this, because it is important. And by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit of the squares between Saturn and Jupiter, because this transit is a long-term transit. I mean, we will experiment this until 2025. So certainly we are going to talk about a lot about this. Important to take in account this about the squares between Mercury and Uranus, because this could be linked with using our creativity. This is very linked with Mercury Leo, to express our light and make changes, to do things in a different way. This could also bring like creative ideas or creative solutions, but many times through a situation that is forcing us to change. Tomorrow we will have the sun in Leo. We are in a new season right now, so the energy is changing. We have Mercury and we have Venus already there in the sign. So it will be a moment to express our light, to connect with the things that maybe brought us joy when we were children. This is about irradiating what we are, who we are, sharing our talents with generosity, etc. But at the time that the sun enters in Leo, it is going to create this opposition with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So, this is another tension. And many times when we experiment oppositions, this has a tendency to be projected on the outside, in situations, in people, in experiences. So the sun is the regent, is the ruler of Leo. And here, Pluto is the planet of transformation that exposes also the shadows or the unconscious. And many times this could bring a reinforcement of the distortions of the ego. which is why it is very important to, to stay in presence and to identify which kind of things are activated. Because, for example, if something is creating a lot of anger or resistance, then outside, then it is activating something inside. And it is important to identify that and not to justify any action on the outside, but just to integrate our own shadows. And we all have shadows, it is part of being human. So it is important to take this in account. And this could also be expressed like in two polarities. On one hand, it is about, wanting to impose our view of the things, our perception. Let's remember that this position, the sun in Leo, it is the ego itself in its shadow. So it is important to take this in account. And the other polarity could be linked with, the disempowerment. I mean, the disempowerment of giving the power to situations or experiences on the outside that are preventing us from irradiating our light. So it is also the invitation of this transit to assume our power, with consciousness, which means to redirect our energy in places and spaces that are really contributing with ourselves, which, many people many times don't do. And well, it is important to know that we are going to have an aspect of support in here, because the sun is going to create a sextile with Mars in Gemini, which means that, this is a harmonic aspect, and it is an aspect of support, because at the same time that the sun is creating the opposition with Pluto, Mars is creating a trine, which is a harmonic aspect. And this is about expressing our light by taking decisions and actions that can express new ideas or finding new connections, or, Mars in Gemini is very linked with collaborating with other people and generating associations, or new ideas or new knowledge, these kind of things. So, it is a moment to assume our power to take decisions and to express those ideas, to open new paths. But the opposition between the sun and Pluto could be something challenging. I think I will talk more about that. Well, then we are going to have, and the sextile, it is going to be active the whole week. That it is important. The opposition, more or less, on July 25th, it is going to start to be undone. Well, on July 25th, we are going to have Mercury in Virgo. It is going to move to Virgo. Mercury, it is going to be retrograde from August 5th to August 28th. It is important to take this in account if you want to remember about this. So Mercury in Virgo is in its house. Here Mercury operates like attending what is necessary in order to develop something, like attending the routines, attending the steps, bringing to the earth what it is needed in order to materialize something. So I think with all the energy of air and fire that we are having, it is very nice to have a Mercury in Virgo in here. It is also an energy about, paying attention to the detail and to everything that can also contribute with our health, for example, and with the routines that are really aligned with the things that we want to materialize. So I am going to talk about Virgo, Mercury in Virgo, later, because it also has its polarities, like perfectionism, for example. But then we have on July 26th, Chiron in Aries. It is going to be a retrograde. Chiron, it is associated to those wounds that actually we have to learn to live with. These are wounds that are pacted, that are contracts of the soul. And in areas they are very associated sorry, with our identity, with reactivity. The things that make us react many times are an expression of the anger and the pain. Anger and pain are the same face, the two faces of the same coin. So this is also about the wounds that many times prevent us to assume the leadership of our own experience. So it is very important to understand that in the retrogradation of Chiron, this is about going in this introspection to recognize how we have integrated those wounds on one hand, and also how we are collaborating through those processes, because the gift, Chiron has a gift, and it is that through those painful processes, we can help others, we can offer something, to people that can resonate with similar processes. And well, at last, this is the last thing that I'm going to comment, but again, this transit, the square between Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini, it is something that we are going to experiment the whole 2024, much stronger in August. And they are very antagonic energies, because Saturn is the representation of the contraction, the limitation, and Jupiter is the contrary, is the expansion. So we are talking about, Jupiter in Gemini wants to expand through ideas, through new perspectives, through finding new truths. And Saturn always wants us to assume the responsibility. To teach us how to develop spiritual maturity also in Pisces, how to align with our own soul. And these squares will bring certain challenges, I have to say, because, for example, an example that I'm going to give, but we will talk more about this, is that expressing our truth, it is very important, of course, to communicate, but the square with Saturn will teach us how important it is to do it with responsibility, to choose the words that we are going to use in order to express to other people. And it is going to bring lessons linked with this. So it is important, because Saturn many times teaches us how to develop that spiritual maturity through obstacles and limitations that could be very frustrating too. But I think we can find, like the middle point. Every time we can do this, find the middle point between them, and to assume the commitment that we need to assume in order to expand whatever thing we want to see grow in our experience, because Jupiter is also the planet of abundance. So whatever thing we want to see grow in abundance, we can assume the commitment with our soul and to, put the energy right there. But it is going to bring its challenges. Well, okay, I am leaving this video here. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.